Today I want to talk to you about the top 5 cryptocurrencies that can potentially survive a long-term market crash and or bear market in the crypto world. What is going on, everybody? My name is Crypto Bobby. Hope you're having a great day, great night, wherever you are watching in from. And so far this year in 2018, everybody is making these videos, the top 5 cryptocurrencies in 2018 to make you rich. How to turn $1,000 into $1 million with these 7 cryptocurrencies. Whatever. Just as likely as that is to happen, I think a long-term bear market is a possibility in the crypto world. And I wanted to make a video that's kind of the exact opposite. What are the cryptocurrencies that might actually hold their value potentially better than some of these other crypto assets, cryptocurrencies out there? And I wanted to provide 5 that I think might hold their value the best in the long term, even if the crypto market crashes pretty severely due to government regulation, something or something else. Who knows what it might be or what might be the impetus for that crash. But let's talk about the top 5 cryptocurrencies that I think have the best potential to survive a crypto market crash. Let's get into it. So pulling up on-chain FX here and looking at some of these most prominent cryptocurrencies, crypto assets out there, and thinking about what could actually survive a massive pullback in the crypto markets. The first thing I want to say is that when the entire market drops significantly, there's not all that much you can do about it. There's really nowhere to run or hide, and as much as CNBC might have posted that Tether was your best place to run and hide, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that either. So I wanted to look at 4 different categories or 4 different reasonings why I think a cryptocurrency might hold its value or hold its value better than the rest during a long-term pullback, during a long-term bear market. And the 4 criteria that I looked at were, number 1, is it actually being used? Are people using this cryptocurrency, this crypto asset for the reason it was intended, or are they using it for just any reasons in general? The second is the tech actually strong enough to survive? And what I mean by that is there are a lot of projects that are very highly valued, and whether or not that value is correct or not remains to be seen, but there are a lot of projects that are very highly valued. However, they're very early on in the roadmap, so the technology, the product is more of it's a long-term vision. It's a progressing product. It's just not there yet, and the actual utility or the usability of the solution isn't there yet, just because the project's so new and they haven't had time to fulfill the vision yet. So when I'm looking at it, is the tech strong enough? I'm really meaning, is the tech fully developed and then continually being innovated on? Or is this a new maybe ICO or project that's been developed in the past year that's super early on in the roadmap, and maybe people aren't actually using that tool or that project just because it's so early on and the developers haven't gotten a chance to bring that to fruition? A third thing is, does it have backing from powerful people? There are a lot of powerful people in the crypto world, whether it's on the mining side, whether it's in the traditional finance world, whether it is original like OGs of the crypto space, people that hold vast amounts of cryptocurrency, people that could potentially make the market move in one way or another, that might have specific reasoning behind backing something. So does it have backing from powerful people? And the last thing is, does it have legitimate utility, or is it simply a really just speculative asset at this point in time? And you could pretty much make the argument that every one of these cryptocurrencies here is valued solely because it's a speculative asset, and that is the biggest reasoning for its value. But there are some that certainly have significant more legitimate utility than the others. So we'll dive into that. The first cryptocurrency, probably the most obvious for you as well, is Bitcoin. And when you look at Bitcoin, a lot of people might not love Bitcoin anymore solely because very high transaction fees. It is not fast, or it's not as fast as it used to be. And that's great. That's fine. That's dandy. I can agree with those sentiments. I'm hoping Lightning Network and SegWit help to solve some of that, but it doesn't take away from the fact that that Bitcoin is still $15 billion in transaction volume in the past 24 hours. There's still 300,000 transactions in the past 24 hours on the Bitcoin network. It is still the most preferred crypto asset, cryptocurrency to hold for the vast majority of people out there. And I think that if there is a long-term bear market, a long-term correction, Bitcoin will likely be one of the cryptos out there to hold its value the best out of any of them. So that is one of the reasons too I still have a decent portion of my portfolio, 25-30% of my portfolio, typically always in Bitcoin in case there is a correction, a large correction or a small correction. Because Bitcoin is typically the one that holds its value the best because it has the most built-in utility, it has the most users, it has the most wallets typically, it has a large number of developers, and it is also, for the most part, you could argue it's not, but for the most part, it is really truly decentralized. There is not one organization behind Bitcoin. There's not one company behind Bitcoin that you can necessarily point to and say, if the government's coming out to regulate it, that you could say, hey, we're going to go after that company, we're going to go after that organization. I'm sure you can make arguments with any of these, but at least in my mind, Bitcoin is one of the cryptos out there that would hold its value the best in a crash. The second one that I'm looking at is Manero. And when I'm looking at Manero from a privacy perspective, I think privacy use cases in cryptocurrency are extremely important. And there are a lot of privacy coins out there. Don't get me wrong. There is Zcash. I actually don't even hold any Manero, but there is Zcash. There is Manero. There is Verge. There is Zencash. There is Navcoin. But when you talk to people that actually use privacy coins, that literally use privacy coins because they're maybe on the dark web doing something nefarious, maybe they just don't want people to see how much money they're spending, maybe they want to avoid prying eyes, whatever it might be, Monero is typically the cryptocurrency that those folks use. And I think that even if the crypto market crashes, there is still going to be a demand for privacy. There is still going to be individuals that want to send their money in a very privacy-focused manner, and Monero is the choice for the majority of those individuals to do so. So when I look at Monero, I think that out of all the privacy coins, this is one that would likely hold its value the best in a crypto market crash or in a crypto market bear market, because people aren't just speculating on Monero because they think it's going to be the best privacy coin. People are using Monero because they want privacy and they trust Monero's protocol and how the development team works on it. So I would say Monero is number 2 in terms of the crypto assets that could survive a long-term crash. Now, the third one, in my opinion, is Ethereum. And Ethereum is one that it's obviously the second largest cryptocurrency out there. It's over $100 billion market cap as of the time of recording this. But when you look at the transaction volume and the number of transactions in comparison to Bitcoin, the transaction volume from a USD perspective is actually pretty similar to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has, in the past 24 hours as of recording this, $15 billion in transactions. Ethereum has $14 billion, so it's pretty close. Granted, Ethereum has 1.2 million transactions in the past 24 hours, and Bitcoin has 300,000. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is the cryptocurrency that people trust a little bit more in the crypto world to hold and store that value in the long term, whereas Ethereum has a little bit more usability in terms of building platforms. Companies are building dApps on top of it and running ICOs on Ethereum, things of that nature. And even if the crypto market crashes, there are still going to be dApps that are running on top of Ethereum. There's still going to be ICOs that are happening. And I do believe the utility of utilizing the ETH token is going to stay fairly steady. Could there be a pullback in the utility of using ETH if less projects are building on top of it and there are less ICOs and there are less dApps? Yeah, for sure. But I still do think that Ethereum would hold its value better than most because people are actually using Ethereum for the reasoning in which it was, for the most part, designed. Now, the fourth crypto out there, and I kind of put these two side by side. Maybe you would agree with it, maybe you don't, but I want to say these two are somewhat redundant in nature a little bit, but Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. So I view both Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash as the cryptocurrencies that people will continue to look to utilize because of low transaction fees and faster transactions. And I personally use Litecoin for transfers between exchanges, whether it's from CoinBase or GDAX to Bittrex or to Binance or something like that. I personally use Litecoin for that. I know other people that have started to use Bitcoin Cash for it because it is very cheap transactions. You're going to save money with that. And both Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash have a pretty decent and pretty similar number in terms of the transaction volume. Litecoin has $1.4 billion of transaction volume in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin Cash has 1.5, whereas Litecoin has 95,000 transactions in the past 24 hours. You have Bitcoin with 40,000 transactions in the past 24 hours. Now, both Litecoin and I think Bitcoin Cash have fairly powerful people behind them. You could potentially consider Charlie Lee to be pretty powerful in the crypto space, and at least from a market moving perspective and an influencer standpoint. Charlie might be able to help Litecoin keep some of its value. However, Bitcoin Cash, one of the big reasons that I mentioned it outside of just its utility kind of in comparison to Litecoin is the fact that Roger Ver, Jihan Wu are behind it, and a lot of other individuals that are kind of trying to prop up Bitcoin Cash and make it become the next Bitcoin. So I think that there are a lot of powerful people that hold Bitcoin Cash that might be able to prop up the market in terms of not selling it or putting up some pretty big buy walls, whatever it might be. Bitcoin Cash is included for that reason. It has very powerful people in the crypto world behind it. Whether you like that or not, it's for another discussion, but that was my thought process by adding Bitcoin Cash and having similar metrics in the case of transaction volume to Litecoin. Now, the last one I wanted to put in, and I could have certainly gone in a couple of different routes with this, but I wanted to do something as some of the ones that I mentioned are pretty big. They're fairly obvious per se, but Binance, BNB, Binance Coin. And this is one that it's kind of my flyer in this respect, where Binance Coin is the token to leverage the Binance trading platform, the Binance exchange, to reduce fees. And Binance is currently the largest exchange by volume in the world. And a lot of people are buying Binance because you get a percentage off on your fees. And there is still going to be utility to hold the Binance token if the market crashes and people continue to trade on the Binance platform. So I think people do buy the BNB token, buy Binance Coin, because they like to hold it to reduce their fees. And there's also been an actually pretty legitimate appreciation for the Binance tokens. But I do think that people would hold on to Binance and it would hold its value fairly well in comparison to some of these other ones, even to some of the decentralized exchanges. I am more bullish long-term on the decentralized exchange tokens than I am on something like Binance Coin. However, people are using Binance Coin and actually holding it in their accounts to gain that access to the cheaper cryptocurrency or to the cheaper trading fees on the Binance platform, which is, again, the largest exchange by volume in the crypto world as of right now. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are there any crypto that I missed that you think would hold their value very well in terms of a long-term bear market, a long-term crash? Would love to hear your thoughts, what you think you would like to own if the whole market goes down quite a bit. Would love to hear what your expectations are and what would be the preferred manner for you as well. My name is Crypto Bobby. I do daily videos on the subject of cryptocurrency. So if you are new to the channel by any chance, hit that subscribe button and the notify bell next to that. So when I do have a new video, when I do go on YouTube Live, which I do a couple different times a week for Crypto Happy Hour, I would love to have you join for that. Hope you enjoyed this video. Crypto Bobby signing out. Have a good one. Peace.